What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be modernizing my 2019 F-150 a little bit using the CARABC 8-inch to 12-inch infotainment screen conversion kit. I want to note that this video is not going to be a detailed install video. There's a few good ones out there already. What I really want to accomplish with this video is do both a review of the installation process, telling you how hard it is or how easy it is, as well as a review of the actual product itself, and let you guys know if it's worth it for you to purchase the system and do the install yourself, or maybe pay someone else to do the install. And one final thing to note before we get into this installation, CARABC did send me this unit to install on my truck. However, I promise to give you a completely unbiased and honest review of this product in the installation process. That said, I think they are going to send me a link that I will put in the description. If you want to get a small percentage off, feel free to use that. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get into the installation and review. Alright, so quick check-in after the teardown there. This was super easy to tear down. Really, it was just two 7mm bolts at the top here, and then another two here, and then I think 6 on the sides of the screen. So all 7mm, super easy to get to, no problems reaching it with either just a ratcheting wrench there or using some type of impact or screw gun or something. Other than that, all you might need is a trim removal tool. I found it easy to use the tool for this part, but everything else just kind of popped out by hand, no problem. So super easy on the teardown. I don't think you'll have any issues, even if you're not very mechanically inclined. I guess I should mention, I did end up losing one of the screws here, which I think is okay. I think we only need 4 on the reinstall, but my magnet here is a little bit too thick to fit in between the screen and the screw, and I thought I had it on there, and when I pulled it, it fell down, and I heard it all the way down in here somewhere. So I'm sure I could tear through this and try and find it, but I don't think I'm gonna need it. So that's just one thing to be noteworthy of. Either get a smaller magnet. I would recommend a magnet in general, or you might lose all the screws. The top 2 are kind of easy to grab, but these ones are harder because this things in here and there's a little bit of a lip there, so it's hard to get your fingers back for those. So just something to be conscious of as you're taking out the screen. Just try to at least preserve 4 of those screws, because I think that's all you need for the reinstall, and that should be more than enough to secure it. Alright, so here are all the parts laid out that we just took off the truck for the teardown. This is just the main console trim piece, and then the top part on the dash. Some of you guys might have a speaker up here if you have the upgraded audio system. Mine does not, so it was just the easy 2 screws. Still had a plug in the bottom, which is interesting. Probably like a dummy plug or something, but either way, super easy to take out. So here's the main stuff that we're concerned with when moving to the CARABC kit. We have the 8-inch screen, so this is the stock screen, and it has the APIM on the back. I don't remember exactly what it stands for. It's like accessory programming interface module or something like that, but we're going to be removing this. This is basically the brains of the screen, and we're just going to be removing that and hooking it up to the new screen. And then for the main trim piece, we're going to be moving all of these different buttons except for this middle piece here to the new screen. That's the only piece that's not getting removed because it's kind of stuck in there. And then other than that, all we have to move over, if you have it, is the trailer backup knob and the 4x4 switcher knob. The vents, I believe the CARABC kit has vents, so we don't even have to move those over. It's just the switcher knobs there, and then the plug and cigarette lighter, 12 volt, whatever you want to call it. So we'll move those over to the new trim pieces, and then we should be good to go. Alright, so here's everything that comes in the CARABC kit. Obviously you can see the main unit there, which has the screen. So this is what we're going to be attaching everything to, attaching our APIM to, so that we get the forward sync functionality on the bigger screen. So these are the bottom trim pieces. This one here houses the 4x4 knob, and then the actuator for the trailer backup assist. So these are the two options for the AC controls. You have this one for the automatic AC controls. It has the little screen here that you can use. This one is what I'm going to be using. It is the manual one, so it's just the fan speed knob, the temperature knob, and then the different buttons for aiming the air in different places. So this is what we'll need. It also comes with these two little clips, I guess you would call them. And I believe this is to help hold in the knobs for the AC controls, either the AC controls or the volume and tune knobs. I don't remember exactly which. They also give you a couple of trim tools. I have my own set, so likely won't need to use these, but super helpful if you don't have those. And then they package out all the different screws and clips that you're going to need, and label them. So in the instructions when you're going through them, it'll tell you what size screws to put where, and they separate it out for you, which is nice. And it looks like they even give you some spares, which is cool. Otherwise, you have a couple brackets for mounting the module to the screen and such, and then mounting the whole trim unit to the truck. So those are necessary, and then we just have the actual kind of plug and play harnesses that we're going to need for the new screen, plugging it into the truck. I also wanted to show you some of the differences between the CARABC kit and the stock kit. So obviously there's a color difference there. You can see the stock trim on my truck was more of a gunmetal dark gray color, and then this is more of a silvery light gray color. Not a huge deal. We'll see how it looks when we get it installed, but from what I've seen pictures online, it's not going to be a huge deal. And then otherwise, obviously you can tell the stock trim piece is all one piece with the vent, the 4x4 selector, the trailer backup, etc. Whereas this is just the bottom piece here, and then the top piece is actually on the screen trim unit itself. So there's a few differences between the stock trim and the CARABC kit, but from what I've seen, it fits together pretty well. Alright, so unfortunately the camera died there on me, but I got all the buttons out of the stock trim piece there. So essentially all you need to do is take out a bunch of little T10 screws from the circuit boards there, and then the circuit board comes off. They say to unplug these little clips on the ribbons there, the little white clips, and then pull the ribbons out. I feel like if you're delicate, you can just kind of do the whole unit all at once, but I'll let you know at the end, because I have to see how easily it installs that way. We might end up needing to take it off. Either way, I believe we do need to put some like electrical tape or heat resistant tape over these to protect them from some of the brackets that might be rubbing up against the back of them. So we'll get there soon, but pulling out the buttons is super easy. Once you get all of the T10 screws out, there's a bunch of them, the buttons basically just fall out. Alright, so one quick issue that I ran into, these rings I thought were for the AC controls here to kind of clean up around, and I thought that because on the list of accessories it has them next to the manual air conditioning control. However, I'm starting to think, based on the fit and finish here, there's a little gap there, so I think they might need to go on the volume and tuning knob instead. So just something to look out for as you're installing this. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this to see if those are gonna fit in there. Kind of sucks, but it's only like 6 screws, so it's no big deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll let you know if that's where I think those rings are supposed to go. Otherwise, maybe they go on the AC controls, but they don't fit through the opening here, so I don't think they're for that. I think they're for the volume controls. Okay, yeah, so those rings are definitely for the volume controls, the tuning and the volume. As you can see, they fit in there pretty snugly, and then on the other side they're kind of to help finish it out. So it's definitely for those. So I'm gonna go ahead and redo everything I just did, just with those little spacers installed. Alright, so I think I have the trim piece all mounted up with the circuits and the buttons on it, all properly done. Looks good. Those tuning knobs and volume knobs look a lot better now with that little plastic trim piece in there. You don't need it for the bottom here. Otherwise, the only things to really look out for, these screws are a little soft, so be careful that you don't strip them. Make sure you have a decent screwdriver. It's a P1. I'm using a Tecton one here. I was using this little Conquer kit, but it was taking way too long, so I just grabbed a screwdriver and it went a lot faster and smoother. So yeah, just make sure when you're screwing everything down, you're not over tightening and you're not going too fast. Take your time. And then the other thing with those 2 circuit boards, if you don't want to unplug those ribbons, then you don't have to. I didn't. However, you just want to be pretty careful about how you maneuver it, so that you're not ripping them out or messing with them too much. Basically, I just kind of like laid it down and flipped it up and down carefully as I needed, and everything went in okay. So I think at this point we're ready to start throwing this back into the truck. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Real quick, one thing I did forget to do is transfer over the different stuff from the side piece trims. I forgot, since this one's split into 2, we can go ahead and do the top ones now. So for the 4x4, the 4-wheel drive actuator knob, whatever you want to call it, it's just a couple of little tabs on the side that you pinch down and then push it through. This one, the power thing, kind of looks about the same. It just has a bunch of little tabs on the sides you need to push in, and then you can push it out through the front. The only one I was looking at, the trailer assist one, it looks like you might need a screwdriver to kind of get into the tab in here. The top one is pretty easy to compress, but the other one, once you compress it, you might need a little flathead screwdriver or something to get down in there to compress it so you can push it out. And for this one, you're only pushing out the knob, because the kit comes with the actual like bezel for it, as you can see there. So just the button on that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera, and then we'll start installing this in the truck. Alright, so at this point I have everything plugged in for the screen. It's installed, it's pushed in. I maybe need to go around one more time to make sure all the clips are in, but this is the point where we're going to want to go ahead and test it, because reading the instructions, and I've seen some other people have this issue as well, when you turn it on, sometimes the truck still thinks you have the 8-inch screen, so you'll only see a little box in the top corner there. And what they say to do in the instructions, if that occurs, is to go into the back and completely unplug the unit and then plug it back in, and try that maybe a couple times. That said, I have seen where people had that issue, had already put everything together, and they just restarted the truck a couple times or recycled the infotainment unit a couple times. So I'm just going to leave it open and go ahead and try it like this, so that way I can unplug it more easily if so. But just something to look out for as you are installing this. If you do get that small screen, you might need to go in and unplug the unit again, or do some restarting of the system in some way. Alright, so let's talk about what just happened there. So basically I had the screen fully installed and I went to go turn on the truck and I was getting basically no output from the screen. I think the first time that I put the truck into accessory mode or on with the ignition, there was a quick flash on the screen showing kind of like the 8-inch screen, but it was just a shadow. And then it just went away, and after that there was basically no picture on the screen at all. So the instructions kind of say that there might be some weird things that happen where the size of the screen doesn't immediately get converted to the bigger size of the screen, so you have to go in and unplug the screen a specific way and try it a few times. And I did that. I pretty much tried unplugging it and plugging it back in every which way, and nothing was working. The screen was staying black the whole time. However, there was a bit of a backlight. So I had seen other things where if your dimming settings were too low or too high, then the screen might not work or might not show a picture. So I tried switching dimming settings. I tried basically everything that I could think of, and nothing was working to get the screen on and working as expected. So after about an hour of messing with it, trying to get it going, just nothing was working, so I decided to reach out to the company. Of course, they're, I think, China-based or overseas-based, so they only respond in the middle of the night or pretty late at night. So communication back and forth took a couple of days to determine what was going on. They had me try a few different things and send different videos of it, and eventually they just decided that they needed to send me a new unit, a new screen, as well as one of the plugs that comes with the screen. As far as the customer service, customer support, I don't really have any issues there other than just the timing of it, right? So me being on the East Coast of the United States, there's not a ton of overlap timing-wise with someone overseas in China. Basically, when I'm going to sleep, their day's just starting at the office or wherever they're kind of like 9 to 5 is. So it did kind of suck not having a screen for a couple of days while I was trying to kind of get through that. The other kind of shitty thing is, since there was a backlight on the screen, one night I forgot to unplug it and it completely depleted my battery. And it was an old battery, so I'm not super annoyed with it, but the battery ended up basically being done and dead at that point. Despite recharging it, it was low on cranking amps. So the other kind of annoying thing was driving around for a couple weeks without the screen working. Obviously, when you get a replacement screen sent out from overseas, it takes a couple weeks to get to you. So yeah, I drove around a couple weeks without the screen. However, I did learn after the fact that someone else on Facebook, one of the Facebook groups who was having this same issue, they were able to keep all of the trim in place and just replace the 12-inch screen in the trim with their original 8-inch screen unit. So that way they were able to drive around and still have a screen while they were waiting for the new one to come in. So kind of wish I did that. But once that screen came in, I was able to get it installed, and it's been a couple months now and it's been working flawlessly. I've had absolutely no issues with it. It looks great. It operates great. It's super smooth. It's like a stock OEM type of unit, so there's no concerns there, and it's been working flawlessly. So overall, would I recommend buying this unit? I would say yes. Overall, it gets the job done. It does what it's intended to do. However, it's kind of a newer company, a newer product, so they're going through a lot of growing pains with shipping these out and getting them all working. So there's potential that you might get a unit that isn't working properly the first time, and hopefully they'll continue to be good with the customer service and help people out in those instances and send out a new one. Just be prepared that it might not work the first time, and you might have to go a couple weeks without a screen or with the small screen and undo a little bit of the work you've done and redo it, which kind of sucks, but overall, at the end of the day, not a huge deal. So if you really want one of these bigger screens, I would definitely go for this unit because it works and it looks great in my opinion. If it wasn't for that first screen not working, which many people get their screens and it works first time flawlessly, if that happened to me, I would be singing ultimate praises for this screen. The only thing that sucked was mine didn't work, and I had to get a replacement, which took a little bit of time, and I had to undo some work that I already did and redo it. So that was not great, but overall, still a great product, and I think it's very useful and a great upgrade for these trucks that are getting 5 to 6 years old now. Alright, so that said, let me go ahead and show you guys the screen, how it's working now, and I'll plug in CarPlay and everything and show you guys pretty much how it looks. Again, it's very OEM, so it's pretty much exactly like your F-150 screen would work beforehand, just bigger, and the graphics are a little bit different because it has the navigator graphics on it, which some of it you can change and some of it you can't, so I'll show you guys that. Alright guys, so here is the working unit installed in the truck. You can see the screen is working now. This is the home screen for just when you're not plugged in with your phone or anything. As you can see, the trim is pretty good, fit and finish is pretty good. However, I uninstalled and reinstalled this probably 20 times over the course of trying to figure out my screen issues, so it is a little bit looser than the first time I installed it, but overall pretty good with the gaps, and I'm not too worried about it. Also, people ask all the time about the color difference. You can see this is the darker gray and then this is kind of the silver. It looks perfectly fine in the truck. Nobody would really notice without being the one who installed it. In addition to that, I believe they're now sending this out with the full kind of buttons unit, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the sync buttons and all that. I actually ended up buying that piece from them because they started selling it, and it's only like 15 bucks, so I'll be installing that pretty soon. I just haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, overall, screen pretty normal, everything works, it's nice and smooth. As you can see, there's some holdovers of like the Lincoln stuff, which in the truck this would be like forward, but other than that it's all pretty smooth, no complaints. Alright, and then here is the Apple CarPlay. This is kind of the newer update with the liquid glass stuff, but overall works pretty good, nice and smooth, no complaints at all. So yeah, it looks great with CarPlay. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for the video. Just quick summary. I mean, install on it wasn't terrible. You know, if you're at least a little bit mechanically inclined and have worked on cars and you're comfortable pulling trim pieces and unplugging plugs and plugging them back in, it's pretty straightforward. There's not too much to it. There are a couple places you could mess stuff up, specifically with like the little ribbon cables when you're putting in the circuit boards into the new trim piece. Those parts can be a little bit difficult and you need to be a little bit careful and just don't rush through it so you don't damage those, but otherwise install is not terrible. And then again, once the screen is working, it's amazing, it's great, looks great in the truck. I think it suits it very well and it really modernizes the truck, which is great. And you know, I'm super happy to have it in my truck, super happy how it works, how it looks. It's been great for me for the past couple months, so no complaints after the install is done and it's working. It's been amazing. So that's going to be it for the video. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next video.